So, welcome to another session, another practice and transform session with me, Nikhil. And today we are going to poke fun at a phrase we hear all the time: nobody is perfect. We nod along when we hear this, or we say this to ourselves sometimes. We say it to comfort a friend or ourselves after messing something up in our minds. And it's kind of meant to be reassuring. We say this, oh, nobody's perfect. But when I think about it, when I thought about it for this practice, I thought, does it actually help saying this? Does it actually help to get to the heart of the matter? That feeling many of us carry around, that feeling that we should be perfect in some sense. And at least in our practice, we often talk about practice makes progress and not perfection. So we are a bit more closer to understanding this, but we are still probably not fully there. So I invite us to take this few moments today to reflect on what beyond good enough means, or at least how we can understand it for ourselves. So the feeling that our flaws, quote unquote flaws, that things to be hidden, managed, or even eradicated, these are the things which we call our imperfections. Absolutely, perfectly imperfect we are. So today I want to go beyond this cliche. Let's talk about this messy world of striving for perfection and the active, often exhaustive struggle with it. So that's what our topic of conversation is. So hope you can join us. In the next few minutes, we'll be discussing the different aspects of perfectionism. We will be going through the active struggles and exhaustions involved, how perfectionism can fuel procrastination and avoidance, the deep vulnerability and around showing flaws or inadequacies, and finding genuine freedom, and not just resignation in the fact that, yeah, there are things which we see ourselves as less than others, but that doesn't define who we are. So moving beyond good enough, embracing the whole self. So that's the idea. So welcome. And if you're new here, I hope you consider following us for this next few minutes and, yeah, taking whatever you can and leaving the rest. So, what is this high standards we talking about? What is this perfectionism? It often gets confused with just this this bar we have to set, and I think a lot of us who worked in corporate field or in any sort of American or Western company, I think it's in most companies now, is this high bar, high standards, or striving for excellence. And those things can be healthy. But this in the goal of trying to follow this idea of exceptionalism or excellence, we kind of trip ourselves up. It usually feels less about reaching excellence and more about running from judgment. That's what happens. I think when we seek for excellence in one area, what we are trying to say is, I want to get really good at something so that people don't talk about something else. At least in my own personal journey, that's been fueling uh, my ideas of perfectionism, how to become a perfect teacher, or how do I speak in a way that is very clear and authentic, and learning and changing and asking different questions, and how do I become a better coach, and how do I become a everything. So That's what fuels my uh, perfectionism triggers. And it's actually, we are running away from judgment. It's actually deep rooted fear of shame, of not being worthy. And I don't want to look at our childhood as much, because I think, yes, of course, there are things which was which clearly had an impact on us growing up. And this is one of them, that we set ourselves these lofty ambitions, or we set ourselves, or somebody set it for us. And then we didn't achieve it, because there can only be one first place, but there are millions and billions of us. So we didn't achieve it. And then we try to move away. So yeah, in that sense, there is this inner critic which starts to form, right? Yeah. And the voice that's never satisfied. I know we talked about inner critic many times, but again, in terms of chasing this or having this ambition for something, we get caught up in that. Not good enough. Oh, this presentation I did, not good enough. uh, because it doesn't look the same way as someone else did it, even though they are still thinking the same thing. They're thinking this presentation is not good enough. And we get into the habit of comparison over compassion. And the aspects of, if I do something and I put it out there, or I share it with the world, they'll all think that it is flawed, or they'll all think that this is just what do you call, this is just imposter. You're an imposter, or you're a fraud. So perfectionist sets like an impossible standards, and beats us up for falling apart. And that's okay. It's okay in a sense. It often involves this very right or wrong thinking that are very contrasting, chalk and cheese thinking. Things are either perfect, or they are absolutely not perfect, or total failure. And there's no room for what we call this, it's okay, or pretty good, or we learned something, or I gave it my best and this is something I don't want to do. It's either pass, fail. It's only passing grade is 100%. Exhausting, right? And then what happens is, over time, when we are caught up in this world of chase, what happens? You'd think that perfectionists would be super productive. You'd think that people who are chasing excellence will be absolutely nailing it every single day. But what happens eventually is, leads to different aspects of our psyche. It actually increases procrastination. Why? Because the standard is impossible. The tasks feel overwhelming. The fear of not meeting the standard, the fear of the immense effort required, the fear of inevitable self criticism is not perfect. It all becomes too much. So we avoid starting itself, or we tell ourselves we'll do it when we have more time, or when we have more energy, or when we feel ready, when we are ready right now. And then suddenly cleaning the balcony becomes more important than what you were supposed to do, because you feel like you feel more productive by doing something else, or distracting yourself with some other work, and avoiding the thing which you may really want to do, all because we have this unrealistic expectation. And what does it mean? What is this unrealistic expectation, and what does it mean, and why is it so difficult to not be with it, or to have it less effective in our life? I think it is all about the vulnerability of being seen with flaws and all. So, flaws in inverted comma, because I don't believe in flaws, but to get the message across, it is things which we think we are in lack of, whereas others might have it. Yeah, so at its core, perfection is about hiding. It's about hiding. It's hiding mistakes, hiding weaknesses, hiding uncertainty. It's about presenting this polished version, flawless facade to the world. And we fear if people saw our messy reality underneath, they'd reject us. And I think it's very interesting. I think I would like to quote Brené Brown here. She talks extensively about this connection between perfectionism, shame, and vulnerability. She says perfectionism is like carrying a 20-ton shield, hoping it'll protect us from blame, rejection, judgment, and shame. But it's too heavy. It's too heavy, exhausting work to maintain that shield or to carry it around all day. And by the way, carrying it all around all day doesn't make us even more fitter anyway, so it doesn't really have any impact apart from exhaust ourselves. So here's the paradox. What we crave most as humans is connection and belonging. That requires vulnerability. It requires letting ourselves be seen, flaws and all. But perfectionism tells us that vulnerability is dangerous, that our flaws must be hidden so that people don't know what I don't want to see what we actually do, because that is going to be unproductive. It is not the right thing. So we keep isolated, armored up, and often quite lonely, even when we are surrounded by people. So how do we break free in this short topic? That how do I mean how do we what do we talk about? So often when we talk about these kind of topics, what happens is, yeah, we come to a resignation. We come to say it's not just suddenly becoming sloppy or not caring. It's not just about grudgingly accepting it. Grudgingly accepting, yeah, I'm not perfect. That's okay. I'm not perfect. And saying, yeah, this is how life is. And yeah, and I don't want to be like this, but that's how it is. And that's resignation, but not freedom. What we want to cultivate is freedom, genuine freedom. And I think it is possible. 100% it is possible. Comes from this deeper shift, moving towards embracing imperfection as an inherent, unavoidable, and even valuable part of being human. These are all big words, but the idea is quite simple. It's not we are resigning into the fact that this is such a thing that I cannot change myself. It's only from resignation you move into recognition. You recognize that these things are trying to, of course, keep us safe in the past, but actually trying to build us into something we maybe want in our lives. Maybe that is the focus. The idea is the perfectionism is a good one, in that it is helping us move towards wherever, whatever we want to be doing. And it is kind of interesting that we don't do this with other people. So when someone else is starting to show progress, and they are talking about perfectionism, we often come to their aid. We say, okay, no, do not worry, you are making great progress. Look at you. Look at you from 5 years ago. Look at you from 10 years ago. Look at you now. And we often don't do that as much. And what we can do is practice self-compassion. And this is a huge piece of it. And when we mess up, when we fall short of our own unrealistic expectations, instead of letting the inner critic have their say, we can offer some kindness to the inner critic. Even we can acknowledge that the struggle is is a struggle right now, but we can also remind ourselves everyone struggles. That imperfection is part of our shared human experience. Or Kristin Neff calls it common humanity. I like to call it shared experience. Treating ourselves with same kindness we'd offer someone else who's struggling. And it's also shifting focus from the outcome to process orient. So outcome oriented thinking, I know it is very difficult to really get into this. People always say this. They always say, oh, the process, yeah, no, but what's the outcome? How much money did you make? Uh, how many likes do you have? How many, I'm keeping it really personal here. How many followers do you have? How many content pieces of engagement did you do in the last week? And these are all outcome focused thinking. And even as a person who's working in helping people realize their true potential, I fall really short about this in terms of comparison to outcomes. And often I spend hours and hours just looking at numbers which don't really make any sense, and trying to come out with ideas and plans. And when I was doing some research about this, I think I was also struck by the fact that we say this, we peddle this out like candy. We just send it to everyone saying, oh, don't worry about the outcome. Just focus on the process. Focus on this process, the journey. And I don't know if it is me or anyone else. I think it is probably the hardest thing for anyone to really practice this aspect of process oriented thinking, because the world is not process oriented thinking. The world is outcome oriented. Any company you go to, they don't care about the process, they just want results. Any government you go to, they want results. Any sports team, they want results. Any arts, results. Anything you want to do in wellness, anything you want to do in yoga, for example. Like yoga has now become very popular. Of course, it is a wonderful thing again, but that's also now started to become a outcome oriented thinking. How much exercise and how much time I spend is more important than the time you spend on the mat. And I notice this with a lot of people right now. And in my opinion, that is really difficult. So how do we get out of this? It's about the journey. Yes, we keep telling this to ourselves. And think, I don't think telling itself is enough. I think we have to do something about it. So what do we have to do about it? We have to embrace this vulnerability, embracing that embracing that, yes, we will be looking at outcomes. Just it's okay. We'll be looking at outcomes. Uh, we will be looking at the numbers. We'll be uh, oriented in that way as well. But we will also create a path which can be the journey, which is more in the moment, and the outcome in the moment is that you are being present right here, right now. And this is the aspect of mindfulness we discuss all the time. So, understanding that courage is in the absence of fear, but showing up despite the fear, is the courage to be imperfect, to let ourselves to be seen in messiness. It's understanding, it's acceptance and commitment, that we can accept uncomfortable feelings that come with imperfection, like fear of potential judgment, in order to do things that truly matter to us. So, acceptance helps us navigate this. Accepting whole self, flaws and all, included, with kindness. And as always in this session, embracing imperfection is about an ongoing practice. It's messy. There'll be days where the critic is louder and the fear of judgment feels overwhelming, but acknowledging that the trap, understanding the link to avoidance and procrastination, daring to be vulnerable, and consistently practicing self-compassion, we can loosen its grip a little bit. We can move from being exhausted in the pursuit of impossible ideal towards liberating acceptance of our beautifully imperfect selves. So, to help us connect with this idea on a deeper level, let's take a few minutes to do a guided practice on bringing self compassion to our perceived imperfections. So, I invite you to find a comfortable spot, settle in, and we'll begin when you're ready. So, let's settle into this moment. Find a comfortable position, sitting or lying down. Allow your eyes to gently close or soften your gaze towards the floor. Take a few easy breaths, noticing the air moving in and out. Just letting your body and mind arrive here without any need to be perfect. Just be here. Now, gently bring to mind an area in your life where you tend to struggle with perfectionism. Maybe it's work, relationships, appearance, parenting, a hobby. Just choose one area that feels accessible right now. Think about a specific situation, perhaps recently, where you fell and you felt short, made a mistake, or didn't meet your own high standards. And notice the feelings that arise as you recall this. Is there pressure? Is there anxiety? Is there disappointment? Is there frustration? Maybe that familiar voice of the inner critic chimes in. Just observe these feelings and thoughts without judgment. Acknowledge the struggle and silently say to yourself, this feels hard, or this is stressful. Just noticing the difficulty. Now let's just intentionally bring some self compassion to the struggle. We'll touch on three elements. First, bringing mindfulness, simply acknowledging the pain or difficulty without exaggerating it or ignoring it. You've already started by noticing the feelings. So just be present with this discomfort for this moment. Okay, this feeling is here. Second, shared experience. Gently remind yourself that you're not alone in this. Imperfection is part of the shared human experience. Everyone struggles, everyone makes mistakes, everyone feels inadequate sometimes. Silently offer yourself a reminder like, this is part of being human. Many people feel like this. I'm not alone in this feeling. Connect with the fact that this experience links you to others rather than isolating you. Just imagine everyone you know, everyone in this practice going through the same thing. And third, offering some self kindness. Actively offer yourself some warmth and kindness, just as you might offer to a dear friend who is struggling in the same way. What words would you offer them? Try offering similar words to yourself. Maybe something like, may I be kind to myself in this moment? Or it's okay to be imperfect. May I accept myself just as I am? You could also try a comforting gesture, perhaps placing a hand gently over your heart, on your cheek. Feel the warmth and gentle pressure, offering yourself soothing kindness you deserve. Stay with the feeling of self kindness for a few breaths. And as we come towards the close, gently let go of the specific situation in mind, but hold on to the feeling of self kindness. Silently set an intention to meet your imperfections today and going forward with a little more understanding, a little more acceptance, and a little more compassion. Remind yourself that freedom lies not in achieving perfection, but in embracing your whole self with kindness. Take one gentle breath in and a gentle breath out. And when you're ready, slowly bring your awareness back to your surroundings. Wiggle your fingers and toes and opening your eyes if they were closed. Welcome back. Remember, this practice isn't about erasing perfectionism. It's about planting seeds of self compassion that can grow over time. helping you navigate the messy, beautiful reality of being perfectly imperfect. So that is how we go beyond good enough. And thank you for embracing imperfection and to be here to understand the messy truth about imperfection. I hope this was useful. And if you like it, please come back. Please share this. And I will see you again in another daily practice with Nikhil. Thank you.